Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzoma. Here are the big stories we're tracking for you in the politics. President Bola Tinubu assures government and victims of Maiduguri flood disaster of federal government support, announces disaster relief fund for related issues. Governor Godwin Obaseki says the People's Democratic Party will only sign the election peace pact if the persons arrested by the police are granted bail to enable them to participate in Saturday's governorship election. Your days are numbered, Governor Dauda Lawal of Zamfara State tells Bandit leader Bello Turji after the military neutralized notorious bandit leader and gun runner Halilu Sububu in the state. Welcome again to the program. Our first port of call on the program is an update on the death toll from the auto accident along Saminaka Road in Lere local government area of Kaduna State last Sunday, now standing at 40. Most of them are children. A situation that has left the governor, Ubasani, shocked with deep sense of loss. The children were traveling for the Eid al-Maulud celebration when the vehicle they were traveling in lost control and collided with an articulated vehicle due to overspeeding and overloading. The sector commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Kabiru Nadabo, had earlier told Channels Television that 25 people died due to complications from the accident, while 48 others sustained varying degrees of injuries. They were rushed to the various hospitals in Kaduna, Jos, and Kano for urgent medical attention. Well, our thoughts and our prayers are with the families of those very young children. Let's move on to other stories. And that announcement by President Bola Tinubu for the creation of Disaster Relief Fund to assist Nigerian citizens impacted by floods and other disaster. President Tinubu announced this at the Borno State Government House when he visited the state to sympathize with the government and the people of the state over the recent flooding from Alau Dam. He also visited the Shehu of Borno, an internally displaced persons camp at the government secondary school in Maiduguri, and had a drive-through of the areas affected by the disaster. The president commended the governor of the state, Professor Babangida Zulum, for his prompt intervention and the theater command of the Nigerian military for the evacuation that saved many lives.
Yobe and other affected states, I say we will pull together a very good program for Nigeria to recover from this calamity and do better in the interest of our people. I've been thinking of how do we tackle this kind of a problem, whether it's climate change or any other means. But there must be a disaster relief fund for the victims.
Well, that's the latest coming from the president, President Bola Tinubu, President of Nigeria. Let's also highlight some comments by the governor of Zamfara State, who says he believes the reign of terror unleashed on the state and its environs by notorious bandits and wanted bandit leader Bello Turji will soon come to an end. Governor Lawal, is also positive that the bandit leader will soon be apprehended or eliminated. The governor's optimism for justice comes just days after the military made significant gains against bandits, killing a wanted bandit leader, Halilu Sububu, who had been terrorizing citizens in Zamfara, Sokoto, and other northwest states. It was guest in our program, Politics Today.
I'm one of the most happiest person considering what we're going through in Zamfara State as far as banditry is concerned. As you know, Halilu Sububu was one of the major kingpin in terms of bandits in Zamfara State and the northern part of the country. He controls a large chunk of bandits, full of money, well connected in terms of sourcing arms, and so on and so forth. And today, that guy is no more. The guys have done very well, the military and other security agencies. The whole of Zamfara now, and not just Zamfara, Sokoto as well as Katsina, Kebbi, and Niger, we're all happy and excited for what happened. It's a matter of time. Turji, very, very soon, with what we have in place, with the collaboration between us and the federal government, security agencies, believe me, it's a matter of time. Turji will be killed very, very soon. What we need to do is turn this pressure, military pressure, the pressure. If we're able to sustain this within the next 2 weeks to 1 month, believe me, it will be a difference as far as banditry is concerned.
And away from security, let's talk politics. The governor of Edo State says the commitment made by the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, towards a peaceful governorship election come September the 21st is highly commendable. Mr. Obaseki reiterated the position of the PDP on the peace accord signing while admitting that most of the conditions have been met. He maintains that the PDP or the detained PDP leaders are yet to be released from custody. He was speaking to journalists after a closed-door meeting of the state caucus of the PDP at the government house in Benin City.
Pleased with the current utterances from the security agencies in Nigeria. We want to particularly appreciate the statement issued by the Inspector General of Police, making a commitment, a commitment to support the peace process, to ensure that there's a level playing field for all the players, and we endorse his efforts to draft a lot more men to Edo to support the elections on Saturday. We are also pleased with the preparations of INEC so far, and we have every reason to trust what the authorities of INEC have committed to. So we are going to the various wards and local governments to continue mobilizing our citizens to come out to support our candidate, who clearly stands high, heads and shoulders above, the other candidates in the race today. So we want to once again say that we're ready for these elections. We are hoping that when the courts resume tomorrow, all those people who have been detained in Abuja all these weeks will be released. If they are granted bail and they are allowed to come back home to their families to participate in the democratic process, then we'll consider signing the peace accord.
Well, staying with Edo State, the All Progressives Congress and its governorship candidate and deputy governorship candidate in the state election continue to receive support from different groups towards achieving their goal of emerging winners in the election on Saturday. In the course of the APC campaign tour around the state earlier this month, 3 candidates from other parties and the chairman of 5 political parties in the race pledged to back APC's candidate's ambition.
We members of the National Rescue Movement, including our candidate, Dr. Dennis Osaro, the APM candidate, Zenel Labour Party, the Social Democratic Party, and the Action Democratic Party. Today, we have decided, therefore, that the Edo Guba election coming on the 21st of September, we've decided to work together with the APC.
Still in focus, this time the Labour Party candidate in the Edo election, Olumide Akpata, has visited riverine communities in Ovia North, East and Ovia Southwest LGAs, which are predominantly populated by just-speaking people of the state. The Labour Party candidate promised to put an end to what he described as criminal neglect of the people of these areas by both the PDP and the APC who have governed the state in the last 25 years. He promised to reconnect the communities to mainland Edo State by ensuring that the roads from Funana to other areas are connected.
Who's your guy? Now see a sweet day like sunrise.
Okay, so those are part of his visit, and you know, that's his campaign song with the people that are dancing. So the Edo State governorship election, which is just today is Tuesday, by Saturday at about this time, people will be voting, and some polling units will be coming to, and I mean, the polling units will start closing, not like officially, maybe the number of people in those polling units, but we want to focus on the issues today as far as this election is concerned, and the early signs we're seeing ahead of these polls, one of which is security and the concerns about insecurity that may probably affect voter turnout in that election. Joining me on the program is a public affairs analyst, Mr. Jide Ojo. He joins us via Zoom from Abuja. Mr. Ojo, thank you so much for coming on the program.
It's my pleasure, Geoffrey. Good afternoon.
I know you watch this space very closely. So let's begin with your observation of what the early signals are. We've spoken to a couple of people. We've even seen some documents to that effect. We know that there are certain flashpoints in the state, whether it's Edo North, in Esako area, or Edo South in places like Oredo and Ikbobahar, or Edo Central. There are flashpoints as well. But what are your early signs that you're seeing that you want to comment around this particular election?
Well, for me, Edo election is following the trajectory of all the off-cycle, off-season governorship elections that we've seen since 2006 or thereabout, when this process started. Don't forget, INEC itself has said it has always found it more challenging conducting an off-cycle governorship election than it finds it during the general elections. Because during the off-cycle elections, the political gladiators from other states and the party national secretariats will descend on the state and trying to, heighten tension, they are usually high on rhetorics, and that's exactly what is playing out in Edo State. I think even this year, the political temperature is not as high as it was in 2020, when the Oba of Benin's palace have to even mediate to calm free nerves. So, but nonetheless, the early signs are that the ward local government of the major political gladiators are places to watch. And here I'm talking about the frontline candidates. The Godwin Obaseki is from Edo South, is an Edo man, or what many of us outside of Edo usually call Bini. Is a Bini man. And incidentally, Olumide Akpata is also a Bini man. And Edo South, where you have Edo people, has over 50%, about 52% of the voting population is from Edo South. So definitely Oredo, Ikbobahar, and the environs are flashpoints that you want to pay attention to. And because the charge by Governor Obaseki will be to his commissioners, to his political aides, that they must deliver their polling unit, they must deliver their ward, they must deliver their local government. So when you give that kind of marching order, it heightens tension and makes those who have this marching order to want to outdo themselves, want to keep their position, knowing full well that if PDP, for instance, is able to retain that Osadebe House, which is the government house of Edo State on November 11, when they will be swearing in, some of these political aides may find themselves in the incoming administration. However, on the flip side, the APC and its political gladiators, starting with the candidate of the party who happens to be a serving senator, Monday Okwabolo, who is from Edo Central, we also want to show that it's not a political featherweight. So his local government, his ward, his polling unit are places to watch, as well as even the home of his political godfather, that is where former governor Adams Oshiomhole comes from in the Afema area of Edo North. So you look at the local government of Adams Oshiomhole, the local government of former Deputy Governor Philip Shuaibu, the local government of Monday Okwabolo, who is the serving senator for Edo Central. Then you look at where Aswe Igodalo also comes from in Edo Central. He is an Esama, is where he comes from in Edo Central, and where Governor Obaseki comes from in Edo South. These are flashpoints by nature of the fact that they want to prove a point that they are politically relevant and they are political heavyweights, and they must, and they have what it takes to deliver victory for their parties respectively.
I like the way you did the mapping. So it appears what you put out is Obaseki, Akpata in the south, Edo South, Igodalo, Okpeholo in the central, and maybe we have somewhere Oshiomhole and Shaibu somewhere in the north. Everybody trying to make inroads as much as possible. But let's also talk about what you're observing about the issue. Do you think that what you've seen from this campaign, the candidates have exhaustively discussed the issues? Because in some part, it appears that inflammatory rhetorics and political filibustering has maxed this issue. So that's what we're focusing on.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, there are two categories of contestants in this election. There are the bench warmers, those who are political heavyweights, and these are just 2 and 3. You talk of PDP, APC, and to an extent, maybe the Labour Party candidate. You could see even about 4 or 5 political parties who have dumped their own party candidates and have aligned forces with the APC. So let's concentrate on what the issues have been in the last 100+ days, because campaigns have been on for over 140 days. By virtue of the Electoral Act, you have 150 days of campaigns. And the frontline candidates have been very forthcoming in what they intend to do. For instance, Aswe Igodalo has promised that he was going to create about 50,000 jobs every year, and Monday Okwabolo said he was going to employ 5,000 teachers in his first 100 days. So they have addressed issues largely. They have addressed issue of infrastructure, issue of security, issue of education, issue of health. And they have their agenda. I think Okwabolo has 5-point agenda. I don't know how many point agenda Aswe Igodalo has. But the bottom line is that, you see, while the electorate may just want to listen for the sake of it, Matthew Cuomo, the 43rd governor of the 43rd governor of New York, said politicians campaign in poetry and they deliver in prose. So usually all these rhetorics of I will provide light, water, I will provide security is usually very common in every campaign. If you go back since 1999, go and trace every of those frontline candidates have always issued, whether it's a 5-point agenda, 7-point agenda, they've always pushed those issues. They've always based their campaign on issues. But how many of those issues are they able to resolve? Governor Obaseki has been there for 8 years. On November 11 this year, he will serve out his 8th year in office. Before him, we had Oshiomhole, who was there for 8 years. Before him, we have had Lucky Igbinedion, who has been there for 8 years. And then Professor Osareme Osunbo, who was there for just 1 year before the Court of Appeal booted him out that he didn't actually win the 2007 governorship election, which actually was why Edo State became one of the 8 states where there is staggered elections. So my answer to your question, Geoffrey, is that in terms of issue-based campaigns, we've had all those issues. I mean, we have seen them on both social and orthodox media. They have bought space. They have engaged in political advertisement, and they have also canvassed for votes across all the 192 wards or all the wards in the 18 local governments of Edo State. So the people of Edo State are actually familiar with what those frontline candidates have promised them. But like I said, one thing is to make a promise. How many of these pledges are ever implemented? Because by the time they get sworn in, that's when you start listening to, oh, I never knew the rot was this deep. I never knew the state was this indebted. Oh, I never knew that the situation was this bad. So they start coming up with excuses. I mean, I watched the former governor of, I watched the current governor of Zamfara State on your sister program, Politics Today, yesterday night. And he was talking of his predecessor in office, that the situation was so bad that he didn't meet up to 4 million naira in the state's coffers as at the time he took over, and multiple billions of indebtedness. Workers are being owed salaries, pensions, gratuity, and allegation of corruption up to the tune of 250 billion. So what I'm saying is that we need to distinguish campaign promises from the actual delivery of those promises. We listen to them. They always tell us what we want to hear, but delivery, implementation has always been the big elephant in the room.
Mr. Ojo, we've always told them that for the ones I had the opportunity to talk to, whatever you're saying is not new. What will be different is when the ball is in your court, we exactly know, because we've been in this space for quite a while, and we understand how these things play out until you distinguish yourself. But let's go to one other issue, leaving Edo politics for a moment, in just 2 minutes before we wrap up the show. This ping-pong between Dangote Refinery and the NNPCL, that the fuel price officially from the NNPCL outlet will be $9.50. We don't know what to be for independent marketers. But the surprising thing now is, although the government argues fuel is being subsidized, maybe not for 500 naira, but maybe 200, 300 naira. And that comparison is now being done between the Dangote Refinery fuel, which is $9.50, as against the imported one, which is lesser, imported and subsidized. So help us make sense of how imported fuel will be cheaper than what is produced in Nigeria. And this ping pong of Dangote and NNPCL, just in 1.5 minutes, if you can.
Well, to the best of my knowledge, I think the reason why we deem it fit that the imported fuel is cheaper now is because, like you rightly pointed out, is part of the subsidized fuel that NNPCL has brought in. The major marketers has also now gone abroad to bring in their product. But you don't blame Dangote for whatever it's charging at this point. NNPCL was, in his statement that it issued, he said that they sold crude oil to Dangote in dollars, at least for this September. The one that they have sold to him is in dollars. And definitely Dangote will have to sell at dollar rate to the marketers, because as at the close of business, was it yesterday, dollar is exchanging for 1,600 plus naira. to $1. So definitely the man is not running a charity, it's not a Father Christmas. It's in business to make money. We have been told.
Just let me butt in 1 minute, because at the end of the day, if the imported fuel is not deregulated, it's clearly more expensive than Dangote fuel. Are you seeing a will from the NNP? Because people are alleging the NNPCL is not too comfortable with this new backward integration we have in our hand now that can guarantee a bit of our energy security. In 1 minute.
The issue is that, yes, NNPCL is suspect. It's suspect to the extent that today is 17th of September. NNPCL has not told us when Port Harcourt Refinery will start to work. And if you recall what the president himself said during the August 4th national broadcast, he said the game changer for him in the energy security ecosystem is the CNG, compressed natural gas. That is the game changer in which the government will be able to save over 2 trillion naira that it currently uses to import fuel every month. And don't forget, the NNPCL is telling us that they are owing their suppliers $6 billion. So $6 billion that they are owing. How did it come about? How did that $6 billion
It's a question I guess the NNPCL will answer. Mr. Ojo, we're totally out of time. I must thank you, as always, for coming through, even at short notice, to intervene on some of these issues. Jide Ojo, political and public affairs analyst. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
That's it on the program. Thank you for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo. You've been served on Lunchtime Politics. Bye-bye.